Well, remember, before we tell you about Donald Trump, let's focus on what has been happening in Europe. France is bracing for yet another political showdown. Prime Minister Sebastian Lecornu is venturing down the same path that brought down his predecessors. After months of negotiations on the French budget, Prime Minister Lecornu has failed to build consensus. And now the French Prime Minister is all set to use a constitutional provision that he had promised not to. Article 493 in the French Constitution allows the Prime Minister to ram the budget through the Parliament without a vote. While taking office, Lecornu had promised to break with the past and not use this controversial article. But now, despite 350 hours of debate over the past 3 months, the French Parliament has failed to break the budget impasse, which is why the Prime Minister is making a U-turn on his earlier pledge. In December last year, remember, Lecornu had scored a major victory by passing France's social security budget. However, he has failed to gather support for the full budget. This paves the way for yet another political face-off. French President Emmanuel Macron, meanwhile, may lose his 6th Prime Minister in 2 years. Remember, Michel Barnier used the same constitutional provision to pass the budget, but then ended up losing his job following a no-confidence motion. François Bayrou's end was scripted by another confidence vote following deadlock over the budget. And now, with Prime Minister Lecornu on the same path, opposition parties are likely to table a no-confidence motion to bring his government down. The numbers are stacked against the French Prime Minister. However, the socialists have promised not to bring him down in the parliament. Far left France on board and far-right National Rally are likely to launch a no-confidence bids, but they lack the numbers to bring down the government on their own. The stage is set for a larger political confrontation. The instability caused by Macron's snap election back in 2024 continues to fuel this deadlock in the parliament. The French president has so far refused to call for another snap poll, and he plans to serve till the last second of his presidential term. Let me go across to our correspondent Ross Cullen. He's joining us live on the broadcast from Paris. He'll help us understand what has been happening as far as the French Parliament is concerned. Ross, yet another battle that Prime Minister Lecornu seeks to win within the French Parliament. Clearly, the numbers are stacked against him if that no-confidence motion does go down in the Parliament. But help us understand this entire political play that is happening. This is yet another Prime Minister of France trying to get the budget passed.
Yes, it's the 20th day of 2026. France still doesn't have a budget for this year. The Prime Minister managed to win one of the parts of the budget, the social security. That was passed in December last year. But the overall state part of the budget, there was no agreement. France's parliament is hopelessly divided between the left, the centre and the right. You need to make compromises when there is no majority, and France's parliament is infamous for not making compromises. They're not used to coalitions. They're not used to working together. Normally, one party has a majority and can govern pretty easily like that, having a majority of members of parliament. But the party of Emmanuel Macron is well short of a majority. So are all the other parties as well. So if they want to bring down a prime minister, they can by uniting the left-wing and the right-wing opposition against the premier. That's what could well happen with a vote of no confidence if Sebastian Lecornu uses this legal but controversial parliamentary instrument, Article 49.3, to force the budget through Parliament without giving lawmakers a vote. That would give France a budget, but it would also give opposition MPs the opportunity to try to oust the Prime Minister, and we will be back in another situation that we know so well, France's endless cycle, it seems, of electing Prime Ministers and then Parliament ousting them, choosing a new one, Parliament ousting that Prime Minister because there is no majority for the government, so they're always in a weak position. Every single Prime Minister is just taking over the same position that the previous one had, a weak Parliament, a minority government and an opposition that can unite against them.
Well, that's right, Ross. We'll have to wait and watch what happens, but thanks very much for joining us at the moment, getting us up to date with what has been happening as far as this entire political dynamic playing out in the French Parliament is concerned.